AITA for putting a snobby sales associate in her place after she judged me for wearing a hoodie. Throwaway account. I need to vent and figure out if my reaction was justified or just plain petty. Sorry if this is long, but I need to set the scene to explain the level of pure humiliation I felt. Hi, I'm 29F, and I work in the fashion world. Specifically, I'm a creative director and sometimes model, mainly for high-end campaigns and luxury brands. Now this is important. When I'm working, I look the part. Full glam, tailored outfits, the works. But when I'm not working, I am an absolute mess. I live in giant hoodies, leggings, and sneakers. My hair is usually in a messy bun that's a structural hazard, and I refuse to wear makeup. I like being invisible. I hate the performative aspect of my industry, and outside of work, I truly value comfort and anonymity. Yesterday, I was in a wealthy, upscale district in the city. I'd just flown back from a shoot in Milan, so I was jet-lagged, exhausted, and desperately needed to get a gift for my sister's 30th birthday, which was tomorrow. She's been coveting a specific designer handbag, the kind that costs more than my first car, from a boutique I know well, one that carries the brand I'm actually contracted with this quarter. The store, let's call it Vespera, is all white marble, stark lighting, and has that intimidating smell of cold leather and rich people. It's silent, save for a soft, ambient track. I walked in, immediately feeling out of place. My attire, oversized black Supreme hoodie, ripped black leggings, beat-up Nikes, and sunglasses covering the fact I hadn't slept in 30 hours. I looked like I was maybe running out for emergency coffee, not dropping 5 figures on a purse. I was immediately clocked by the sales associate. Tiffany! I saw her name tag, who was easily my age, dressed head to toe in Vespera's newest collection, immaculate tailoring, perfect blonde blowout, and a practiced, distant smile. She looked at me, then at my shoes, then back at my eyes, and the smile died. She didn't say hello. She didn't offer a polite welcome. She just stood there, arms crossed, radiating pure, judgmental frost. I wandered over to the display case where the coveted bag was. I knew exactly what I wanted. I made eye contact with Tiffany and smiled brightly, trying to be friendly. Hi, I'm looking for the Starlight clutch in sapphire blue. Do you happen to have one in stock? Tiffany didn't move. She sighed, dramatically shifting her weight. Are you a client of the store, ma'am? That piece is part of our limited collection. It's quite exclusive. The way she emphasized exclusive made it clear she thought I was a tourist who stumbled in off the street or, worse, someone scoping out the place to rob it. Oh no, I'm not a regular client here, I admitted, already feeling heat rising in my neck. But I'm ready to purchase. Can you check inventory for me? I can tell you right now, she drawled, not even glancing at her tablet. That piece is well into the 5 figures. Perhaps we can show you our small leather goods collection. Keychains, maybe a wallet. She gestured dismissively toward a table tucked in the back corner, near the service entrance. I felt the blood drain from my face. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone, condescending, pitying, and totally dismissive. She wasn't suggesting an alternative, she was putting me in my perceived place. Before I could process the insult, a couple walked in, the woman perfectly coiffed, draped in Chanel, the man in a crisp suit. Tiffany's entire demeanor instantly changed. Her back straightened, her smile returned, and she practically glided over to them. Welcome, so lovely to see you. Can I get you a glass of champagne, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson? I was left standing by the 5-figure handbags, feeling smaller than I ever have in my professional life. She spent the next 5 minutes fawning over the couple, completely ignoring me, shooting me quick, suspicious glances as if I was going to pocket a pair of sunglasses and bolt. I tried to interrupt once. Excuse me, I'm ready to pay now. And she just held up one perfect finger, whispering to the Hendersons, "One moment, darling, just a browser." That was the last straw. My humiliation curdled into icy, calm fury. I wasn't just insulted. I felt my dignity being actively stomped on. I started to walk out, ready to just buy the gift online and cry in my apartment. But then, right near the door, I turned back. I didn't yell. I didn't make a scene. I walked right back up to the service counter where Tiffany was happily chatting and leaned in close. "Tiffany," I said, my voice quiet but cutting through the silence of the store. I think we need to clear something up." She looked genuinely annoyed that I had interrupted her lucrative conversation. "Ma'am, I'm assisting real clients right now. Please exit the store if you're not purchasing." I smiled, a cold, empty smile that didn't reach my eyes. Oh, I was purchasing. I was purchasing a $12,000 bag for my sister. But I can't do that now because you've spent the last 10 minutes following me with your eyes and telling me I can only afford a keychain. I could feel every eye in the store on me. The Hendersons stopped talking. "Look, we have a certain clientele here," Tiffany hissed, leaning closer, trying to keep her voice down. "It's policy." "It's not policy, Tiffany, it's prejudice," I replied, standing my ground. "And what's really sad is that you've just lost a 5-figure sale and potentially your job over a black hoodie." Then came the petty, cinematic moment. I reached into my tote bag, pulled out my phone, and opened my camera roll. I scrolled to a folder labeled work. I turned the phone around, shoving a photo right under her nose. It was a full-page spread from the latest Vogue issue, me, styled head to toe in Vespera, looking glamorous, cold, and holding the exact sapphire blue starlight clutch I'd come in to buy. The photo shoot was literally for their current global campaign. Her jaw dropped. Her expertly applied makeup couldn't hide the shock. "That's my face, Tiffany," I said, pointing to the photo. "And that's your bag. I've worn your clothes, I've advertised your brand, and I've made you a lot of money. I know the CEO personally, and he calls me by my first name." A manager, a sweet older woman named Carol, rushed over, her face white with panic. She saw the photo on my phone screen, and her eyes went wide with recognition. "Oh my God, Ms. Davies." I didn't let her finish. I put my phone away, my hands shaking a little, and looked directly at Tiffany. "You didn't need to look me up and down like I stole something. You didn't need to insult my budget. You just needed to be kind. That's the only real luxury in this store, and you're all out of it." I turned, walked out, and bought the bag online from a different retailer 5 minutes later. Later, I got an email from the regional manager apologizing profusely, offering a massive discount code and a $500 gift card to any Vespera store. I replied politely, "Thank you, but I won't be needing it." I know I embarrassed her publicly in front of other clients and the manager. I know I pulled rank, which is something I swore I'd never do. But I was so hurt, and that moment felt like the only way to claw back my dignity. AITA for putting the employee in her place and flexing my professional status when she treated me like I didn't belong there. TLDR. Successful creative professional, 29F, walked into an upscale boutique wearing a hoodie and sneakers. Sales associate was aggressively snobby, refused service, and implied I couldn't afford a keychain. I confronted her, revealed I'm a high-profile model director for that same brand, showing her a Vogue photo of myself holding the exact bag, and walked out. AITA for humiliating her. Update 1. Wow, I honestly didn't expect the post to go that viral. Thank you all for the validation. Reading the comments made me realize that my reaction wasn't just a personal meltdown. It was a response to a systemic issue of classism in luxury retail. A few things have happened since the original post. First, the apology email came in 2 waves. The initial one, the generic one from the regional manager, I ignored. The second one, however, came from a higher executive, the district vice president, and it was a much more sincere, personalized apology referencing my professional relationship with their brand. She offered a face-to-face meeting and confirmed that the situation had been elevated to their HR and training department immediately. I didn't take the meeting, but I did clarify in my response that while I didn't want the employee, Tiffany, to be fired, I believed she needed serious retraining on basic human decency and the actual values of the brand, which are supposed to be inclusion and appreciation for art, not gatekeeping based on a quick, shallow assessment of someone's clothes. However, based on what the DVP hinted at, and a very awkward call I got from Carol, the sweet manager, it seems Tiffany did get written up and possibly suspended pending an internal review. Carol was incredibly apologetic. She confessed that Tiffany had been warned multiple times about her snobby behavior and that my incident was the final straw. She essentially confirmed that I didn't cause the firing. I merely brought irrefutable evidence that justified the management's pre-existing concerns. That information made me feel a bit better. I wasn't just a vengeful customer, I was a catalyst for accountability. What really resonated with me were the dozens of private messages I received from people who work within my industry: photographers, other models, creative assistants. They all said, "Good for you. We get treated like garbage in street clothes all the time." It's like this dirty little secret. You're worshipped on the billboard, but if you show up to a casting in sweats, you're invisible. It proved that this wasn't just about Tiffany's bad day. It was a deeply ingrained culture of judging worth by appearance. I still feel a small pang of guilt for the public nature of the confrontation. Retail jobs are tough, and people are often stressed and poorly paid. But I also remember the specific, cold look on her face, the one that told me, unequivocally, "You are poor, and therefore you do not matter." That look is the core of the problem. That look is what she needed to learn to stop giving people. I'm currently focused on enjoying my sister's birthday and trying to forget the whole embarrassing episode. I'm proud that I stood up for myself, even if it meant being a little extra in the process. I guess the real win isn't the apology or the suspension. It's remembering I never needed to prove I belonged there in the first place. My worth and my buying power exists whether I'm wearing $20 sweats or a $20,000 gown. Final update. It's been about a month now, and I have a final little piece of closure that feels exactly right. Not overly dramatic, just quiet vindication. I had a meeting with a supplier a couple of blocks from the Vespera boutique yesterday, so I was back in the neighborhood. I was, predictably, wearing a hoodie and a baseball cap. As I walked past the boutique, I noticed a few things had changed. The window display was new, and I saw a young, smiling face near the door, a new sales associate who looked genuinely friendly. I didn't go in, but I paused for a second and looked through the glass. And I saw Carol, the manager. She noticed me immediately, and her face went through a quick cycle. Initial panic, then awkward recognition, then a slight, appreciative smile. I gave a small, polite nod, the kind of professional courtesy you give a peer you respect. Carol came to the door. "Ms. Davies, it's good to see you. I hope things are well." She looked tired but relieved. "Hello, Carol. Things are great. New window looks nice," I said casually, nodding toward the new display. She lowered her voice. "We've made some changes. Tiffany is no longer with us. We've introduced new mandatory training on client assessment and respect. I want you to know we took your feedback very seriously." She was clearly trying to smooth things over, but I could sense genuine remorse. I just smiled, a real smile this time. "I appreciate that, Carol. It means a lot. Treat everyone who walks in that door like they're worth $1 million because frankly, they are." She nodded. "We're trying, thank you." "Have a good day," I replied and walked off. There was no drama, no big confrontation, just a quiet acknowledgement that a correction had been made. It felt like the final scene in a movie where the hero doesn't get the girl or the money, but gets the moral victory. The entire experience taught me so much about perception and dignity. Tiffany's cruelty wasn't about me. It was about her insecurity, her need to feel superior by making others feel small. She was desperate to validate her place in that expensive, silent store by policing the boundaries of wealth. I didn't need to buy anything that day to feel powerful. Turns out the best thing I left with wasn't a 5-figure bag, but the simple, clean feeling of my restored self-respect. I didn't go to war. I simply stood my ground, and the flimsy walls of her prejudice crumbled.